WWE has produced some great pay-per-views, but what we're about to discuss doesn't even come close. Here are the 10 worst WWE pay-per-views from the last 5 years. Number 1. TLC 2014. Tables, ladders and chairs always looks like a good card on paper, but the WWE has made some tremendous strides in reducing this to just another event. 2014 show got off to a great start, with Dolph Ziggler winning the Intercontinental Championship from Luke Harper in a ladder match, but nothing came close to matching this, and it was a bad move setting the bar so high early on. The rest of the card wasn't particularly bad, but it wasn't particularly good either, with John Cena vs Seth Rollins table match offering a hope of a slobber knocker, only to stumble as it lingered on an insufferable 21 minutes with multiple run-ins. Dean Ambrose vs Bray Wyatt showed promise as both locked up in a TLC main event, but the ending was so screwy, fans wondered whether it was booked by Vince Russo or someone who had seen too many Roadrunner cartoons. The finish featured Dean Ambrose about to clobber Bray Wyatt with a ringside monitor, only for the monitor to malfunction and blow up. Was it a shoddy Acme product, poor booking, or both? Whatever the cause, it reflected a night where TLC stood for totally ludicrous concepts. Number 2. Survivor Series 2015. Although Survivor Series is considered one of the WWE's Big 4 pay-per-views, 2015's event shows why some fans see it as just another mundane show. Still, 2015's show had potential, as it not only marked the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker's debut, but featured the 2 last rounds for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament. Despite this promise, the show would rank as one of the worst pay-per-views of 2015, if not the worst, with so many reasons why fans hated it, ranging from Roman Reigns' short-lived WWE Championship reign to 2 traditional Survivor Series elimination matches so boring they seem to have stepped out of the dark days of WWF in 1995. As one critic put it, the pieces were in place for this year's Survivor Series to be one people would never forget. Instead, it turned out to be one fans couldn't forget soon enough. Consider these 2 Survivor Series elimination matches, duds that seem like a match for superstars rather than Survivor Series. First, the Dudley Boys, Goldust, Neville and Titus O'Neil versus Bo Dallas, the Cosmic Wasteland, and The Miz. And the second, the Usos, the Lucha Dragons and Ryback versus King Barrett, Sheamus and the New Day. See what we mean? The Undertaker's 25th anniversary saw him team with storyline brother Kane against the Wyatt family in a match that saw some cool table spots, but nothing else worth remembering. Finally, although Roman Reigns' tournament win seemed to help him build him up as a fighting champion, his loss to Sheamus after the Celtic Warrior cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase killed Reigns' momentum, as Sheamus had been previously booked as a mid-card act for several months prior. Number 3. Royal Rumble 2015. While fans will argue Survivor Series' track record has been spotty for many years, it's hard to point out a truly awful Royal Rumble until you look at this one. The 2015 Rumble never found its way, featuring a remarkable number of boring tag team matches, beginning with the Ascension vs the New Age Outlaws, the Usos vs Damien Mizdow and The Miz, and the Bella Twins vs Paige and Natalya. Lesnar vs Cena and Rollins was good, but the outcome was almost as predictable as Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble match, with the Philadelphia crowd making their displeasure known. And even The Rock's appearance couldn't keep the Boo Birds from letting the WWE know that they wanted Daniel Bryan to win. Reigns' win was as warmly received as Disney's recent Solo, A Star Wars Story. Number 4. Fastlane 2015. 2015 was the year when the WWE refused to acknowledge the fans' lack of enthusiasm for Roman Reigns, pushing him over the obvious favourite Daniel Bryan. This was clear with Reigns' Royal Rumble win, and even clearer when the WWE pitted him against Daniel Bryan in a singles match to determine the number 1 spot for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 31. The fans knew where things were going in the main event, and had no reason to get behind either man, despite a decent performance by Reigns. Add in pages from the bad booking playbook such as disqualification finish to an Intercontinental Championship match, and a low blow to win a match, mix it with the worst match of the year candidate, Goldust vs Stardust, and you end up with the garbage plate known as Fastlane. Number 5. Roadblock, End of the Line, 2016. Sometimes you can't help but wonder whether pay-per-view titles are predictions of how fans will react to the event. In this instance, the WWE's Universe's patience reached the end of the line after witnessing meaningless bouts such as Braun Strowman vs Sami Zayn and a snoozerweight bout involving Rich Swann, D. Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. The main event between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns ended in a disqualification, a clear sign of unimaginative booking. The show did have an excellent Iron Man match between Charlotte and Sasha Banks, but the rest of the card underperformed. Cesaro and Sheamus' win over the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championship surprised many fans, but after a record-breaking reign by the New Day, the Tag Team Championship quickly turned into a hot potato, lessening the win. Number 6. Clash of the Champions 2016. The WWE's efforts to recreate the magic of Jim Crockett Promotions and later WCW's Clash of Champions TV specials failed miserably, echoing past failures as recreating WCW shows such as the Great American Bash. The triple threat match between 3 of NXT's 4 horsewomen saw Charlotte defeating Sasha Banks and Bayley in a match that could have outshined everyone else on the card, but turned into a surprisingly mediocre match given all three's talent. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows continued spinning their wheels in the WWE as they jobbed to the New Day, while Roman Reigns vs Rusev was further proof that the WWE Universe hated Reigns. The best of 7 match between Cesaro and Sheamus was anything but the best, as both men wrestled to a meaningless no contest. Number 7. Battleground 2017. When your main event is a Punjabi prison match, you know you got your work cut out for you, digging yourself out of a very deep booking pit. The WWE's attempt to salvage the show offered hope with the Usos vs New Day match. This was undoubtedly the highlight of the show, and further proof that the Usos vs the New Day series owned the WWE's tag team division in 2017. Cena vs Rusev in a flag match showcased Rusev's undeniable talent, but sadly it also proved that the WWE booking committee is blind to said talent, as Cena went over Rusev yet again. Kevin Owens vs AJ Styles underdelivered, and the rest of the card was forgettable, despite some talented workers like Shinsuke Nakamura, Charlotte, Natalya and Becky Lynch competing. To no one's surprise, the Punjabi prison match was a disaster save for some insane bumps, and the finish saw the return of the Great Khali. A bad show and another example of the failed experiment known as Jinder Mahal, WWE Champion. Number 8. Payback 2017. Running a show after WrestleMania can be a good way to begin new programs and reach a climax on Mania matches. Unfortunately, Payback proved to be anticlimactic, as in the case of the Randy Orton vs Bray Wyatt feud. Fans who thought the feud between the Viper and the Eater of the Worlds couldn't get any dumber after the creepy crawlies projected on the ring at WrestleMania should have known there's no limit to WWE's creativity when it comes to devising stupid ideas. Orton and Wyatt's House of Horrors match quickly joined the ranks of duds like Playboy Pillow Fight and Punjabi Prison match, providing more than enough cause to include this disaster on our list, despite the rest of the card featuring average to good matches such as Chris Jericho vs Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins vs Samoa Joe. Number 9. Fastlane 2017. When a pay-per-view shows up twice on a list of la creme de la crap, it might be time to retire the show and try a new name. 2017's Fastlane seemed to serve one purpose, putting the Universal Championship on Bill Goldberg for his WrestleMania 33 match against Brock Lesnar. The outcome of Owens vs Goldberg was inevitable, but a 22-second squash in a pay-per-view's main event is unacceptable. Even worse was the WWE's decision to snap Charlotte's pay-per-view undefeated streak, not only putting Bayley over her, but doing it just weeks before the Showcase of the Immortals. This card was nothing but filler. If the WWE wanted to pump its audience for WrestleMania 33, they couldn't have done a worse enough job. And number 10. Backlash 2018. Whether this show suffered from running after the star-studded Greatest Royal Rumble, or fans felt there was no compelling storylines to get behind the matches, this show was one pulse above flatlining. The Miz vs Seth Rollins match delivered, but things went downhill from there. The kickoff show did nothing to get the fans excited, save for those who enjoyed seeing Bayley counting the lights, and the Banks-Bayley feud moving at a glacial pace. Jeff Hardy vs Randy Orton might have been entertaining if there was any reason for the two to wrestle other than to fill the card. Nakamura vs Styles continued the trend of turning a can't-miss feud into a lackluster one, with a count-out finish that included a double dick kick. The Reigns vs Samoa Joe match can be summed up by the fans' chants of CM Punk, Rusev Day, and Beat the Traffic, and with no title changes and no real storyline advancement, this was just a poor showing, and another example of how the WWE has too many pay-per-views right now. Well guys, there you have it, the 10 worst pay-per-views from the last 5 years. Are there any we missed out or you disagreed with? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.